Next up at UFC Vegas 97, we have Andre Petroski taking on Dylan Budka. This is an interesting fight slot for Andre Petroski. He's a guy at one point in time the UFC was looking to do something with. He comes out of a camp with a lot of guys on the UFC roster, but a couple of slip-ups later, a bad performance here or there, and all of a sudden he's the second fight of the night on a Vegas Apex card right after a rebooked Ultimate Fighter matchup. It's a weird spot for Andre, but I do think he will thrive. But we got Andre Petroski, 11-3 overall, 3-2 in his last 5. He is coming off a bounce-back win over Josh Freem. He's taking on Dylan Budka. Dylan Budka, 7-3 in his career, 3-2 in his last 5, coming off that TKO loss in his UFC debut. Andre Petroski, at this point, we know what he is, right? He's a very good wrestler who's got sneaky good jiu-jitsu and big power in his hands. Cardio is not great. His stand-up technique-wise isn't perfect, but he throws bombs, and he throws them heavy. If he shoots takedowns, they are clean. And if he gets on top, he's got phenomenal control. He did hit a little bit of a skid there, right? He got smoked by Michel Pereira. Fine. Michel Pereira at 185 is next level good. He got smoked by his own shoulder when he shot a takedown and knocked himself out. But he did just beat Josh Freem with 3 takedowns and an insane amount of control time. Jesus went back to his roots, was like, I need a win. I don't care how I get it. And I love that. He's taking on Dylan Budka. Dylan Budka is also a good grappler. He's got some big takedowns. He'll lower his level. He'll shoot right up the middle. He's not going to be tripping or clinching. He's literally just good old-fashioned wrestling. When he does get it to the ground, he does a good job working 2 positions. He will take his time. He'll methodically work. He'll look for a submission instead of just elbowing and creating some chaos. He's not a great striker, but he has no issues charging forward and trying to make something happen. He is coming off that TKO loss, though, to Cesar Almeida, where he had a beautiful blast double, relentless takedown attempts, but ultimately was finished. Andre Petroski is becoming more affordable as the week goes on. You can see here he opened at minus 150. Then he shot up to over a 3-1 favorite. And now it's starting to come down a little bit. I would love for it to come down a little more, but ultimately it is what it is. And if you've been watching me break down this fight over the last 2 weeks, I've been like, I hate these odds. I hate these odds. Can't trust Andre Petroski. And while those are all true statements, sometimes you just have to look at the other side of the fight. Dylan Budka is also looking to grapple, also looking to wrestle. He's not going to be the better wrestler. He's not going to be the better grappler. So I just got to pick the guy, even though Andre Petroski's a bit unreliable and he knocked himself out with his own shoulder. I just got to pick the guy who is better at his opponent's best things. Andre Petroski's the pick. What do you think, Jakey boy?
Yeah, and this kind of breaks my heart because I got to go against everything that is in my fucking core at this point in my life, in my MMA journey, and that is pick a fucking Renzo Gracie fucking fighter. I can't stand that camp anymore. Nobody has let me down more, and I would not be surprised if Andre Petroski lets me down this week in this pick. No way I'm fucking betting him, but he should. I mean, he should just be the better fighter. I mean, if you're Andre Petroski, you should not be losing to people like Dylan Budka, and that's not even that big of a thing for Dylan Budka because I think he probably can beat a lot of people that can't strike, can't really defend takedowns. He probably can wear people like that out. But you saw as soon as people can defend a little bit of a takedown, I mean, he just packed up and went back to the hotel. I mean, he was tweeting before the fight, the next face of the UFC. He tried to get takedowns for 5 minutes and was like, all right, I'll see you guys back at the buffet. I'm done here. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, he just basically just curled up and was just out of there. Andre Petroski, to his credit, even if he gets tired, he's not a fucking quitter. I mean, this guy this guy was literally like knocked out, still like searching for somebody to grab a leg onto in that fight. He knocked himself out. Like, he's not going to quit even if he gets tired. And it seems like once you have that quit button, it's hard to fucking get rid of that. So I got to go Petroski here. I'm not betting it, but I mean, he should fucking just win. I mean, he should win this fight. He should not be losing to people like Dylan Budka.
No, I completely agree. I'm glad we are opposite a lot of fights. I'm glad we're squarely on the same side of this one. Sometimes, I tend to make things more complicated than they need to be. But I'm not doing that here. I mean, I don't love the odds, and I don't love his last 3 fights his last 4 fights, because even though he beat Gerald Meerschaert, he didn't look good in that fight either.
Yeah, but he kind of. I mean, that was one of those situations where he had to tough that shit out, and he did. And like you said, in his last fight, he seemed like a more calmed down, methodical version of himself. And if he is that person, he does have the talent to be that person. He's a very good wrestler. He just was so balls to the wall that he got himself in trouble later. But he should be fine here.
Well, Jakey Boy and I both on the same side. $9,300 in DraftKings Fantasy. I actually think he's worth it. If he's
Sneaky play.
I think he's worth. Yes, that's expensive and he's a big favorite, but if he fights the same way he fought last fight, there's going to be a ton of takedowns, ton of control time. If Dylan Budka ends up quitting, we might get a ton of takedowns, ton of control time, and then a finish. So I think Andre Petroski, yes, is wildly expensive at $9,300, but I do think he ends up paying for his ticket in your DraftKings fantasy lineup. And if you do want to check out all the other bets, the picks, the round line leans, the artificial intelligence, you can do so now for all 4 cards. It's $10 a month. That's $2.50 for UFC Vegas 97, $2.50 for UFC 306, $2.50 for UFC Paris, and $2.50 for UFC 307. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. What the hell is that?
Isn't that the Omega fraternity? Something like that?
Oh, for OSP?
Yeah.
Fight scrapped, boy.
Rest in peace. I like that underdog play, too. People are going to hate on fucking OSP this week, but Ryan Spann, I'll just do the breakdown right now. Ryan Spann has fucking 6 knockouts in 21 fights. People act like he's like this power puncher. It's a 30% knockout rate. It's like
he's
OSP.
A high finish rate, but yeah, it's not all knockouts.
And OSP's a better grappler. It's like Ryan Spann's kind of a jiu-jitsu nerd, and OSP's better than him there. So it's like I kind of like that OSP play.
Yeah, I thought Ryan was going to win, but I was never.
He looked good against Kennedy. Kennedy was supposed to knock his fucking head off too.
Minus 500 favorite, blew it.